Hype me up, boys. Let's go.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back. I'm Neil.
I'm Pat.
I'm Michael.
And this is the 4-on-1. We're covering everything in the football world. Boys, how are we doing? Let's go.
Oh my God, I've never been so excited for a podcast
Me
in my
too.
entire life.
We
Mock draft
got
special.
Round 1 of the mock draft.
Oh
Let's
my
do it.
God.
Pat, how are we doing?
You out of here. You already know how I'm doing. I'm ready.
Come on.
I got my jacket.
Oh my
I got my
God.
tie. I got my hat. I'm kind of styling with the hat right now.
Yeah.
Right? You know,
Okay.
I'm feeling my hat. I've been
I dig
wearing
it.
this hat the last couple podcasts. The Patriots, little beanie.
Oh
Doing
my
great.
God.
No
Now,
complaints.
I was feeling nostalgic, so I went to the basement because that's where we record the podcast, and I'm noticing I don't have any Patriot stuff.
Perfectly fine.
Interesting.
I gotta go.
Perfectly fine.
Oh.
Boys, let's get into it.
All right.
Neil, start us off, brother.
That's
Ready to
amazing.
go.
Oh, let's go.
Ready to
All
go.
right.
So, pretty self-explanatory. So, round 1 of the mock draft, but it's a Friday. From Bishop Hendricken, Sean Miranda. Mike, let's get him
do this
on.
thing.
Here it is, the man himself,
Man
Sean
of the
M.
hour,
Let's
Sean
go.
Miranda. How we doing?
Hey, I'm great, man. Happy to be back on the pod. Thanks for
Yes.
having me back.
Oh God.
Big.
All right, so we have our own draft order. So we're gonna go pick 1 to 32. Order's gonna go Sean, Michael, Pat, and I as the host go last. So Sean, start us off. Number 1 pick.
First pick, Joe Burrow. Not a surprise. You know,
Obviously.
number 1 on every draft board. He won every award in the book last year. Heisman winner, national championship. You can't go wrong. Best thing since sliced bread.
Best thing
Wow.
since sliced
Best
bread.
thing since sliced
thing
bread.
since
Love it.
sliced
I
Love
mean,
bread.
there's
Awesome.
no question about this guy. Joe Burrow is legit. Michael doesn't think so. Michael thinks that this guy will not last in the NFL, and I want to hear a little bit from him about it.
So, all right, look, my first initial thoughts are, where's he going?
Bengals.
The Bengals.
Bengals.
Well,
Okay.
projected.
The Bengals. He's going to the Bengals. The Bengals, they're not good, and they don't have a whole lot of pieces. They don't have a really good O-line. Outside of A.J. Green, I guess Tyler Boyd, they have a solid weapons. Their defense is abysmal. You're just expecting a lot out of Joe Burrow. It reminds me a lot of Baker Mayfield. It reminds me so much of Baker Mayfield. Going into kind of a broken offense, and now he's kind of going 8-8, 7-9, and not really topping that record. So I just don't think Burrow's going to really exceed that because I think that Baker Mayfield was more hyped up than Joe Burrow was.
Okay.
I wouldn't write off the Bengals too quickly.
Yes.
No.
What are you talking about?
Oh, Neil,
yes, I'm
hold on.
writing off the Bengals.
Hold on.
No, I'm writing off the Bengals.
Yeah,
the Bengals
Neil.
suck.
Sorry,
no,
dude.
No. They have no defense, no O-line. They've been in a revolving door for coaches. Their front desk is awful. How
This
can you
team-
tell me that this team's going to be
It
stable
was
at all?
not that long ago where the Bengals were a playoff contending
Yes,
team.
and
They
because
could
of their-
easily
because
do
of
it
their
again within
GM.
the next
So
5
long.
years, next
They
5 seasons.
plummeted, and they fell, dude. No, they're going to be awful. I'm not. No.
You know what? Hot take, they'll be good in 3 years.
That is strong.
I don't know.
Here's what I'm going to say about
2023, they'll be good again.
Here's what I'm going to say about the
Mark my
Bengals. Joe Burrow will not be enough to bring them to a winning record. That's all I'm going to say.
Agreed.
Yeah.
For this
Yeah.
season.
Okay. I want to hear the number 2 pick.
So,
Michael?
I just want to give a little overview. I know that not all of our listeners / viewers, because we're on Spotify now. If you didn't know, link down below. They don't know all the players.
That's amazing.
Got to sponsor it. They don't know all the players that are going to this that are going to be in the mock draft today, and that's okay. It's all college football. It's different. So I'm going to try to give you like the impact the player is going to have on the team. So at number 2 of the 2020 4-1 mock draft, I've got Chase Young out of Ohio State. He is far and away the most talented player in the draft. It's not to me, it doesn't even seem close. This guy is on a different level. The Redskins would be idiotic not to take this guy. I mean, the Redskins, just to give more reasoning, I mean, the Redskins allowed 146 rushing yards per game last year, which is second worst in the NFL. They also ranked 4th worst in defensive line rankings. So they rated like each defensive line, they were 4th worst. And he's the most explosive pass rusher and run stopper in the draft. So, and the Redskins need that. I mean, I don't see how they can pass up on this guy. I don't see them trading out of it. So I just think this is a no-brainer for the Redskins.
They need a threat.
Need a threat.
Period, paragraph. They need a
Period,
threat.
paragraph.
That's what I got to say about that.
All right, number 3.
The third pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions are going to select Jeff Okudah, quarterback, Ohio State. This guy is gritty. A real gritty player. There's no other way to put it. He's been called the best corner in all of college football for a reason. He's kind of the corner who likes, get up in your face, get up to the line of scrimmage, and bring you down even behind the marks. He gets right up in there. He has brought people down behind the line numerous times in some of the highlights that I've watched. The Lions' top corner, Darius Slay, just got traded to the Eagles, which is a very important move for them. It's going to be a lethal addition to this team. 29 solo tackles, 2 forced fumbles, and as a 2 forced fumbles as a corner tells me that he's an aggressive player. I think he's going to be a really great addition to this team. Michael, thoughts?
The third pick of the draft is pretty valuable, would you say? I mean, you have the third pick of the draft, right? So the secondary is lackluster, to say the least. They don't have a very good secondary at all. But I don't think that it's their biggest need. And I think because of this, I don't think they should take Okudah. I think they should trade out of it. That is my
Trade out of the 3 pick.
Three. Done before. I think they should trade out of the 3 pick because, dude, you can get a package in a half for the 3 pick. Think about that.
How much better can you get from 3, Mike?
I'm saying like you trade down and you can get like a stockpile of picks for that. I think but Jeff Okudah is not going to make or break your secondary. So if this guy isn't going to make or break it, then why would you take him? He's not like a generational talent.
Dude,
I mean, there's been guys that have hyped up like him.
Jeff Okudah could make and break their secondary.
Could he? Yeah, but I just don't think that
he's the best corner in the draft, Mike.
All right. I don't know.
Any best corner in a draft can make or break a secondary.
I just don't think he's valuable enough for the third pick of the draft. I think you can get a really good trade for that. And I think they're open to trades right now. But the Lions I'm not saying getting like a 2 or 1. I'm saying like they can trade out and get like a first, second, third, fourth, next year's pick, stuff like that. Accumulate picks over time. It's what the Pats have done. They've traded out of the 1 before. They've traded out of the 3 before, and they've gotten picks. That's why they have like 13 or 12 picks this year. So
it's going to be exciting.
God, I'm so excited for this.
If Okudah is the best available at 3, and he's not the kind of guy who could make or break a secondary, then how much value does the 3 have to another team?
Because I think that there are other teams out there that have that need like a position more. Like if the Giants really need an O-line. The Giants really need a linebacker. So they should take I know that they need like Isaiah Simmons or like Tristan Wirfs or something. Like they need a guy like that. I don't think that Jeff Okudah is like the first priority on the Lions board. That's my take. I could be completely wrong.
Their priority is going to be their secondary because it's lackluster.
But so is their O-line. And their D-line, they signed Trey Flowers for a ton of money, and he didn't pan out at all. So I don't think that they're necessarily just saying, we need a secondary, and that's it. I think they have other needs on this team.
All right.
We'll see, Mike. We'll see.
So, number 4. The 4th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Giants select Tristan Wirfs out of Iowa. Offensive tackle, 6'5", 322 pounds. And not only is this an awesome draft or great draft class for wide receivers, it's a great draft class for tackles, both offensive and defensive. And like I said, a past pods, my dad's a Giants fan. And one of the things that, he's griped about, one of the things the Giants have really struggled with the past decade is a subpar O-line, which is one of the reasons Eli declined as quickly as he did, and also a key reason why Daniel Jones performed as poorly as he did last season. But why Tristan Wirfs? Like, there's tons of other O-tackles in this draft. What makes this guy so special? I think we could be seeing a replacement at that left tackle spot just because Nate Solder did not do as well as they were expecting. They Gettleman put him with the ex-Patriot coach Joe Judge, the head of the Giants last year. And this is a position that the Giants need to beef up for years. I think this is finally the season where they do it. They take a solid tackle very, very early in this draft.
I'd like to add on that Tristan Wirfs is primarily a right tackle, but he did play a little bit of left tackle.
Yeah.
I'm blanking right now on the school he played at, but I know he did play a little bit of left tackle there. So I think that it's a great pick for the Giants, if I'm being honest.
And he can
him or Isaiah Simmons.
He's able to do both, which is really, really key for that team.
A fantastic trait, definitely, but one of his combine grades weaknesses was dominant traits, but doesn't consistently dominate with them.
Which is something scary in the NFL because the NFL is all about consistency. And if you can't be consistent, you're not going to last.
And look, No rookie is going to be perfect. There are going to be weaknesses for every single player.
Absolutely.
Is that a scary weakness, though? It's a bit of a scary
Potentially,
weakness.
one that can be developed.
Sean, you got any thoughts?
Because I would just say, if it's saying it's better than not having dominant traits and being
True.
able to dominate every now and then. Because if you have dominant traits, you get good coaching, kid could be an absolute stud. He put up huge numbers at the combine.
It's different from like slow feet. That's something that really can't be taught. I see what you're saying, Sean. Okay.
So,
I like
so
that.
timeout before we hit number 5. I would be remiss if we didn't thank our sponsors, Daily Orton Attorneys at Law, located in Warwick, Rhode Island. Like we talked about last pod, they specialize in personal injury cases. If you need anything, whatever your legal need may be, contact Kevin Daly, 401-921-5901. Sean, 5th pick of the draft.
All right, 5th pick. We're going to the dumpster fire of the AFC East, the Miami Dolphins, and they are going with no one other than Tua Tagovailoa. Absolute.
Wow.
What?
Yes, he got hurt his ankle in this year of Alabama, but the kid could play. He showed true talent.
Wow.
Before he went true freshman, winning the national championship. You put him. He's hurt this year. The Dolphins have Ryan Fitzpatrick on contract for another year. He can, even if Fitzpatrick doesn't want to teach him, he can learn from a veteran in the NFL, get healthy, and then take over.
Failing 2 of his physicals, Sean?
2 physicals within the top 10.
Sean, I have a question about this one. So if you're who even is the Dolphins coach right now?
Brian Flores.
Okay, Brian Flores. All right, so if you're Brian Flores, who do you start? So let's say hypothetically, yeah, they get Tua. Do you start Tua or Fitzpatrick week 1?
You let him find it out.
No, disagree completely.
Who's healthy though? If Tua's not healthy, you don't start him.
True.
If they're both healthy, you spent a 5th pick of the entire draft on a quarterback. You have to. You can't not.
But
No,
Daniel Jones and Eli Manning fought it out.
You start Fitzpatrick.
So that should show a lot. If a declining Eli Jones. If a declining Eli Manning beat out Daniel Jones, that should speak a lot about how poor and bad a pick of Daniel Jones really was.
Bad pick.
It was an awful pick. If Eli Manning beats out Daniel Jones, that speaks so much about how poor of a player Daniel Jones is.
Let's focus on Tua, though. I want to talk a little bit more about Tua. Failing 2 of his physicals concern me. His injuries concern me. Sean, what do you have to say about that? Will the Dolphins take a gamble on something like that? Their team is already very fragile right now, and they've burned a ton of money on a lot of players. They've been shoveling money into their team this entire offseason. What are they going to do if this guy goes down? Will they be able to recover if he does?
The Dolphins, they're in the decent position where they're so bad that they have nothing but time on their hands. Like, no one's out there this year saying that the Dolphins need to go make the playoffs. So if they start Ryan Fitzpatrick and wait for Tua to get healthy, because when Tua's healthy, we all know what he can do. He won the national championship for Alabama that year. When Tua's healthy, we know what he can do. So if they can start Fitzpatrick for half a season while Tua gets healthy and learns a little more, yeah, he did terrible on his Wonderlic test, scored a 13, which is out of 50, which is really bad.
Flunk.
But, yeah, I mean, Fitzpatrick scored a 48, so you can learn from him and then get better in the process, get healthy, and be the Tua Tagovailoa that everyone loved and can win.
An interesting take by Sean, a hot take by Sean. I'm interested to see it play out.
That's it. All right.
So
Michael.
at number 6, we have the LA Chargers, and they're going to select, in my opinion, the second best quarterback on the board, Justin Herbert. I don't see how you can say that Tua is higher ranked than Herbert, because Herbert just seems like the safer option. And I mean, the Chargers need a quarterback. Phillip Rivers left in free agency. Chargers are comfortable. They've reportedly been comfortable with Tyrod Taylor. But if Herbert's on the table, I could see them taking him. Why not?
Because Oregon quarterbacks have always statistically done really, really well in the NFL.
They have not. No, they have not. But the Chargers have all the pieces to compete right now. So, Pat, I'll put you on the spot.
They do. I agree.
So I'll give you this little rundown. They have an explosive offense. So they have a top 5 secondary.
Mm-hmm.
They have a top 12 offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And they rank 10th in total yards. So basically every statistical category, they were at least top 12.
They're there.
So
Absolutely.
with that talent of a roster, do you feel comfortable with Tyrod? Who do you feel more comfortable with, Justin Herbert or Tyrod Taylor?
No idea. We don't know. He's a rookie. I've never seen him play in the NFL. How can you be
Exactly.
expected to answer that
I'm
question?
saying comfort. I'm just saying, if you could, would you rather draft Herbert or roll with Tyrod Taylor?
Oh, I'd rather draft Herbert. Definitely.
Okay, so that's my point. So the whole Oregon thing, I know I was the biggest preacher of saying Oregon quarterbacks weren't that good, but I think if Tua's down, you don't have that many other holes. Why not take a chance? I don't know. I don't see why not.
It's risky to take a – if you're in the 4th round, yeah, we'll take a chance on a guy. What pick is this?
It's 6. I understand
Six?
that.
Taking
Yes.
a chance on a
my
6th round
my
in the
point
6th
is that,
pick?
but they don't have any other like extreme like weaknesses on that team that really need to be filled.
There
Secondary,
are always weaknesses, but I agree, obviously quarterback is their problem.
dude, I don't know. Their defense is great.
They're good.
Their O-line is great. Their quarterback situation is awful. They need
Which
to
is
draft a
really
quarterback.
rare because there's not a lot of teams that can say we have full confidence in our O-line. Like that seems to be like even on like from the very beginning pods we were talking about like the Pats, teams across the league, they're like their common denominator in we need to improve on this was O-line.
Yeah. All right, so who's got 7?
I got 7.
Pat.
Honestly, this is one of the best picks for this specific team. With the 7th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers will select Isaiah Simmons, linebacker out of Clemson. He runs a 4.39 40-yard dash time, a speedy guy up the middle. The great thing about this guy and why he is going to be such an important part of this Panthers team is that he's versatile. His combine grades were very clear that he's able to play corner, safety, and linebacker
It's a Swiss Army knife.
interchangeably. With a lacking Panthers defense, which we've covered before in podcasts previous,
Extensively.
they can move a guy like that around wherever they might need it. Let's say they get a linebacker in later rounds and he's sick. Move this guy to corner. Move this guy to safety. Wherever they need him, he will go. 104 total tackles and 3 interceptions as a linebacker. Versatile, deadly. This will be an awesome addition to this hurting Panthers defense. I'm excited to hopefully see this guy get drafted by the Panthers.
I think he has the talent to be like a 3rd overall pick. I think this
Really?
guy, yeah, oh my God, yeah.
Wow.
On some boards, he's being picked number 3. This guy,
I'm
he is
surprised that this
really
wasn't
good.
taken. I'm
he is
kind of glad
really,
that I got him.
really good. I mean, he's on a lot of boards. He's being picked by the Giants at 4. I think 7 is a steal for Isaiah. That's my take.
Interesting.
I'm excited.
So I have 8th pick in the draft. Cardinals select Mekhi Becton. Once again, offensive tackle, 6'7", 368 pounds. I am hot on tackles for this draft. Cardinals are another team. They have needed to address their O-line problems for several seasons now. He ran a 5'1" 40 at the combine, which isn't awesome, but pretty impressive for a guy that weighs almost 400 pounds. And I think this is exactly the kind of guy that the Cardinals need to defend Kyler Murray in the pocket so he can get those throws to DeAndre Hopkins. And if they were, to go out and sign another big, they gave away David Johnson, but if they were to go out and sign another running back or another wide receiver, you're going to need a blocker for those guys too. So I think that Becton is just the guy for the Cardinals.
Little hot take, and I want to hear from Sean. Let's say that the Cardinals go in the 2nd round and draft either like Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, or like a top 3 running back in the draft, and they get Becton. So they or any like top 3 offensive tackle. Do you think the Cardinals, led by Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, can be a top 5 offense in the NFL?
Ooh, that'd be tough. I mean, if they get Becton, I don't think top 5. That's a stretch, but I think they can be a very high-level offense, even without drafting a running back. Because they traded for Kenyon Drake, right?
Yeah.
And he played a couple games at the end of the season and he wasn't bad. I think with DeAndre Hopkins and Larry Fitzgerald catching passes, you protect Kyler Murray, that's going to be a good offense. Not top 5, but good.
Okay. All right, I like the take.
All right, Sean.
All right.
Number
9th
9.
pick. Going to the Jags. They're getting Derek Brown out of Auburn. Big guy, defensive end. 6'5", 326 pounds, all SEC last year. So he's He played well in one of the best conferences in football. He was projected last year to go in the first round. So this year, getting them at the 9 after you just traded away Calais Campbell, I think that's a great fit for them. You try to put the ball in Gardner Minshew's hands a little more. Could be a fun season.
Interesting. Pat, Michael, thoughts?
I'm not sure how to feel about that. I'm not. One of his combine notes was his average knee bends creates inconsistent pad level, doesn't have upfield stride quickness for playing in gaps. Again, all teachable, all very teachable. Problems, but teachable. So I do see what you're saying, Sean.
Didn't they lose Yannick Ngakoue?
Yeah,
I think
they lost like
I think
most of
the
the
Jags.
defense.
The Jags have 2 first-round picks, right? Pretty sure. I think they're going to spend both of those on defense to try to restore that 2017 AFC Championship Saxonville defense. They have to.
Oh, good.
They have to. I mean, they have the offensive weapons. They have a really underrated wide receiver core. Like a bunch of like guys you wouldn't think could like play well, but at any certain time you need to count on like Keelan Cole or D.D. Westbrook. You can go to those guys. And they have a good Leonard Fournette, top 5 running back in the NFL. Got to work on that line a little bit. But if you can restore that defense, Nick Fulton, no, he's not there anymore. But Gardner Minshew, I mean, maybe maybe they can.
We'll
make
see.
a run at the playoffs. We'll have to see. That's another sleeper
Who
team.
knows?
All right, Pat, number 11.
Oh, we got number 10.
We got Michael.
Oh, I skipped Michael.
Come on. All right, so number 10, we got the Browns. I got Andrew Thomas.
The Browns.
Yes. Andrew Thomas, offensive lineman. It seems like an easy pick because as of right now, with Neil selecting the 2 first offensive linemen, he's the best one still on the table. They need no lineman, and Thomas is the best one left on the board. I mean, he ranked 18th last year. The Browns ranked 18th last year for offensive efficiency. So in the bottom half of the NFL, it just seems like a good fit to me. I mean, their defense needs help, but I think you can get that in later rounds right now. I mean, there are guys in the board for cornerbacks like C.J. Henderson, who I really like. He's going to the top 10 on a lot of boards. He can really maybe potentially develop into a top 10 corner. That's a lot of the notes that I've been seeing on him. But I just think, why not get an offensive lineman? I mean, you invested in Baker Mayfield, number 1 pick of the draft. Why don't you try to get your money's worth? Try to get a lot of yeah.
Absolutely. Pat, Sean, thoughts?
Good pick.
I'm not sure how to feel about that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's a pretty boring pick. Offensive linemen usually aren't that.
Hey, you know what?
Fun.
All people need offensive linemen, and with the shaky Baker Mayfield right now, maybe you need maybe you need a little bit more protection right now. I respect that pick.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you.
All right, now Pat, number 11.
I thought you'd never ask. With the 11th pick in the 2020 NFL drafts, the New York Jets will be selecting CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver.
First wide
Oklahoma.
receiver off the board. Wow.
First wide receiver off the board. CeeDee Lamb. Look, no doubt about it. A lot of hype around this guy. Brashon Perryman is their number 1, which is not at all a number 1 caliber receiver. Can we all agree on that?
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Michael.
Go.
Okay.
You better be kidding. And CeeDee Lamb has been completely dominant. He averages 21.4 yards per catch, and his combine notes included a glider who can get separation in the zone. That's something I like to hear. This is something the Jets have not seen, honestly, since Brandon Marshall, which was a long time ago.
Wow.
That was a while
A
ago.
good Brandon Marshall was a long time
That's
ago.
a good Brandon in his prime, right? One of his weaknesses in his combine notes was the routes need to be more purposeful. Once again, as we've talked about in this podcast, it can be coached. He's got the raw talent. 1,327 yards for 14 touchdowns. While he's not the quickest guy, he can get separation, which will take him to a good place in the league. I like CeeDee Lamb, and I got him going 11.
Sean, I want to hear your take on that because I remember hearing when we had you on the last podcast, you were really high on Jerry Jeudy, who was your first wide receiver off the board. So how are you feeling about CeeDee Lamb being the first one off?
I mean, CeeDee Lamb, you can't deny he's a very good player. He has he's shifty. He's shifty. You can't teach some of the stuff that CeeDee Lamb does. He's been playing against not great defenses all year, but he's really good. You can't deny that. I still like Jerry Jeudy a little better. He's an elite route runner, something you just can't teach. And I still think that Jerry Jeudy, I don't doubt that both Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb will do great in the NFL.
Yeah.
But I think that Jerry Jeudy will do a little bit better just because of his route running skills.
Interesting.
That's something.
And with that, with the 12th pick, the Raiders select
Jerry
Jeudy.
Jeudy.
Alabama wide receiver, hands down one of the most talented receivers in this draft class, as we just talked about. And besides Nelson Aguilar, Derek Carr has really nobody as that number one target.
Or Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
Never know.
I think Jeudy could really fit into that number one role. And although it's not completely smart to rely entirely on a rookie for any position, I would not at all be shocked if Mike Mayock went out and traded for another seasoned receiver as another weapon for Carr. I think Jeudy would be a great fit for this team. He's got all the tools Coach Gruden is looking for in a receiver. That's all I got.
All right.
Thoughts?
I think you really got to stress the fact that their number one right now is Tyrell Williams. He's not a number one receiver.
Not at
So
all.
they got to get a
Not at
guy.
all.
And I think they have the pieces. Good O-line. Great. I think Josh Jacobs could be a really good running back. You got some pieces on defense. I think this team is not in win now mode, but I think they're on the cusp of being able to make a playoff push. And I think getting a number one receiver in the draft.
They almost did.
Yeah, they
They're a
were a
couple
week
wins away last
17
year.
team. Yeah. So,
All right, Sean.
yeah.
Number 13.
Yeah, number 13. Last two picks were sexy wide receivers. Wish I could say I'm going with another one, but can't. 49ers, I mean, I know they would have loved to get Lamb or Jeudy, but going with Jedrick Wills Jr., Alabama, offensive tackle. Not going to be the playmaker that one of those guys is going to be, but it's going to be – yeah.
We had these two big guys, CD and Jeudy, and we just get this big husky on the lineman with Sean. hey, you know what? I can't
run a 5-second 40.
I can't express it nor. Linemen are needed. No doubt about it. Absolutely.
Maybe we'll see a little Don Terry Poe out of this guy catching some touchdown passes.
Ooh.
You never know. Nah, I'm kidding. But he'll play on the opposite side of Mike McGlinchey because Joe Staley is going to retire soon. So it's definitely something the Niners need to look out for the future. But he's 6'4", 312. He's a big kid. He's a big kid, but he's a little bit small for a lineman. But he makes up for that. He's got a good motor. He really goes out and he attacks defensive players. So I think that could be a really good fit to protect Jimmy Garoppolo for the future.
I do agree that Jimmy G needs more support.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about
I
it.
think the 49ers have drafted the most offensive linemen in the last 5 years.
And just none of them have clicked.
Well, no, they had a really good offensive line
McGlinchey.
last year. I just think with Staley gone, they got to replace that, and they didn't do it in free agency, to my knowledge. So I think, why not? You got, what was that, 13th pick of the draft? You got two this year?
Pick.
Yeah,
13
13.
first rounds this year?
Why not?
So at number 14. I was really excited when I saw that I had this pick. So I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
A buzz team right now.
Yeah, so
Tommy.
I have C.J. Henderson, got a cornerback. So to me, it's not a no-brainer, but I think if you are the Buccaneers, you have to go secondary. I just don't see how you can't. You have great weapons.
The offense is doing just fine.
Oh, yeah. Good
quarterback,
Offense is
potentially
gonna
good
be
running
good.
backs, and you have an awesome run defense. So, I mean, statistically, they're the best run defense in the league last year. I think they allowed 74, 76 rushing yards per game. Secondary, it's pretty bad. And you got to draft a guy like Henderson. I mean, he's got insane potential to be a lockdown quarter. Really speedy guy.
Athleticism, size. I completely agree.
He's beefy.
Real beefy.
Very beefy.
He has
Don't know
size
if you
to be
want
an
a
elite
beefy
corner.
quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I will say the offensive line is an issue. But they were ranked worse in the NFL last year. But I personally think that the secondary is a bigger problem. I mean, it may come as a surprise figuring out what I just said, but I just think you need to have a good – huh? Yeah, it's worse, but I think
worse than the league?
you have to have a good secondary, though. And I think given the offense –
Very true.
and given the powerful offense they have, I think you really need to beef up. You really got to beef up that secondary.
Agreed. I have to interject. So –
well, hold on. I think that if they don't go Henderson, I think they go offensive tackle. I think they got a guy named Josh Jones. He's an offensive tackle. He's the best one on the board.
Okay. Maybe that would be true. I might have to refute that because even though I think quarterback is the more important position, who is the quarterback you're protecting?
No, we are reading the same
Because-
music right here. I am completely on board with you. Offensive line is a huge problem. I'm just thinking about there have been 3 offensive tackles who've just been taken. So you're not even getting a top 3 offensive tackle in the draft.
Yeah, you're right.
And there's only been one secondary taken. So you can still get the second best player in the secondary in the draft in CJ Henderson.
And
I
also,
don't think
and also
in the
signed-
actual draft, I don't think he's gonna fall this far. But in this mock he did, so I took him. He's the best available guy, in my opinion.
Pat, number 15. What do we got?
Remember when I said I was most excited about the Panthers pick?
Yep.
Yeah, I lied. With the 15th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Henry Ruggs, receiver,
Speedy guy.
Alabama. I can think of little John Elway laughing his way to the playoffs in a couple of years. This will be the piece that takes this team to the next level. Considering Locke stays consistent with a fiery year last year, he's got Sutton for his
All right,
receiving weapons.
hold on. He's gonna have
No,
a
let
fiery
him finish.
year.
Let him
He
finish.
showed it.
No. He's gonna have a fiery year.
He showed spurts of athleticism
Spurts.
and potential.
Spurs.
I'm saying if he keeps that consistent.
Okay,
I'm saying if
all
Locke
right.
consistently
Well,
plays
all
to
right.
his potential.
That's contradictory
Wow.
because either he is spurty or is that even a word?
Make sure
Inconsistent or consistent.
you listen to what I'm saying. I said
Okay.
considering as long as Locke stays consistent
Yeah.
throughout the season, which he has the potential to do, he's got Sutton for his receiving weapons, and the addition of Ruggs will help out a young new quarterback. Weapons help out quarterbacks. Amen.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't deny that.
A 4.27 40-yard dash. When I read this, when I was reading these stats, I audibly said, "Oh my God." You need to realize how fast that is. That's crazy with Sutton as their deep threat and Ruggs as their little out route guy.
That's reversed.
Oh, it's
Sutton's their like possession guy. Ruggs is their deep ball. If they were to do that.
I think Sutton. No, I think Sutton's
If you
their
can
deep
run
threat.
a 4.27,
I think
you're gonna
he's
run
quick.
down the field and outrun everybody like Tyreek Hill every single time.
He's quick with his feet, though.
He can do both. He's versatile.
Whoa.
I like that thought. So when I think of the sound of that offense with the addition of Gordon and Lindsey, the dual threat in the backfield, his quickness will be able to get him some nice corner routes in the league. 7 touchdowns with Bama. It's a little low, but with such a talented class at Bama, they got to spread the wealth. 7 touchdowns sounds kind of low. Think about that class at Bama. I would be very excited to see this team with what type of offense they have, and it's what they need right now. I would really like to see Ruggs go to the Broncos.
So actually, I have a little bit on Ruggs too, just coming to my head. I like the pick because I think they definitely need to help the Broncos air attack. I mean, it's outside of Cortland Sutton and Noah Fant a little bit. You can't name another receiver on that team. But I feel like there are bigger needs on this team, if I'm being honest. Outside of Sutton, there is no one. I get that. But I think you can get a solid receiver in a later round while picking someone who can greatly impact your defense right now at the 15th pick.
Michael,
I
you
think-
can get a solid receiver in a lot of rounds. Sure you can, but you're going to get a better receiver in the first round.
This kid could be more than solid.
Right.
Yeah,
you know what
I
mean,
get
dude?
that, but I think that this wide receiver class is really deep. And some of the other positions aren't as deep as this. So if you can get a really talented receiver in the second or third round, and you can get like a extremely good talent for a position that you maybe need more than wide receiver, why won't you do that? A guy I'm eyeing who's still on the board, Christian Fulton out of LSU. There's a lot of promise, and I think that Ruggs can make an impact, but I think Fulton could potentially, or really any secondary player, can make a bigger impact than Ruggs can.
Interesting take. Pick 16, Falcons, Javon Kinlaw, South Carolina defensive tackle, 6'5", 324 pounds. This guy is not only an incredible pass rusher, but also does extremely well at stopping the run. Out of high school, it was actually interesting. His starting position was the opposite side of the ball at offensive tackle. As a defensive tackle, switching over, he knows the mindset, some of the footwork and our techniques that O-line guys possess, and use that mindset to his advantage. 35 total tackles, 6 sacks last season. They're really going to need to beef up this defense for the upcoming season, especially with the 4th hardest schedule in the league I think Kinlaw's a perfect fit for this team.
I also think
Thoughts?
he's a perfect fit to accompany Grady Jarrett, who needs a lot of help on that defensive line. They lost a lot of assets on the line, and I think that he could be a really good tag team. Pat?
And you know what? I think it's very clear. The Falcons are getting more confident in their offense. They've been really building their offense in the offseason. I think they're saving a lot of their defensive picks clearly for the draft.
Yeah.
Gurley, of course. Maybe he'll show up. We don't know. I think it was smart to take a chance on him for a year or two. I don't know. We'll see. Julio Jones. Amazing. Matt Ryan, past his prime, but still a solid quarterback. This offense can produce. The problem is the defense. I like the pick, Neil.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Pick 17. Sean.
All right. Pick 17. It's the Cowboys. You know, they probably would have loved Ruggs to fall so they can match up someone with Amari Cooper. And that would have been a lethal offense, but they got to go defense here. So they got to go Christian Fulton, defensive back out of LSU. He had a team high on the national championship team. He had the team high 14 pass breakups last year. He plays man-to-man coverage. Jerry Jones has been a little bit alluding to that they're going to take a defensive guy. So I really think that would be a good fit there. Cowboys had a very good offense last year and failed to make the playoffs. So that shows you that the defense needs work.
What is wrong with that team? That team had so much
I don't
talent.
So bad.
Coach.
The offense does, and I think more to Sean's point in picking cornerback, they let Byron Jones go, who's an extremely underrated cornerback, and he's got to be top 10, maybe top 7 cornerback in the NFL. When you let him go, that secondary is going to take a hit this year, and I think it just came because they're thinking of paying Dak Prescott, who was at best a solid quarterback. They're going to pay him $40 million. They already paid Amari Cooper a ton of money.
Oh, load.
Yeah, it's too much.
That is not
So-
that Jerry Jones is so overrated. The decisions he
1,000%.
makes, not very good.
1,000%.
All right, Mike, number
All right,
18. Who we
So
got?
number 18, I kind of alluded to him before. Josh Jones, offensive lineman for the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins have 3 first-round picks. They got to spend at least a few on offense because they beefed up that defense. So
Oh my god.
I was just talking about Josh Jones a few picks ago. Dolphins had the 3rd worst O-line in the NFL last year, and Shawnee said it. He thinks that the Dolphins are going to take Tua. I don't think so, but if they do, he's injury-prone, as we've seen, so you got to get him some help. This guy's an excellent pass blocker from what I've read. He gives the Dolphins help on the offensive line. I personally don't think that the Dolphins, like I said prior, should use any other picks on defense. But I think you got to get some young guys for the offense. You know, Josh Jones is my pick.
They've been
All right.
beefing up that defense, as Michael said. Just absolutely.
I'm never, ever going to hear the end of that.
No, you're
Ever.
ever.
Dude, but seriously though, they've been building that defense through this offseason, taking a lot of Patriots players. Yeah, exactly.
All right, Pat,
Classic
Pat, number 19, who we
ex-Patriots
got?
coach move.
All right. So it's the 19th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. The Las Vegas Raiders will be selecting Xavier McKinney, safety out of Alabama. First of all, what a weird thing to say. Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, so strange.
Weird.
So
Typed
strange.
that for the first time, and I'm like, wow, that's weird. It was the
So
strangest thing
Oakland,
ever.
That is strange.
Real simple. This guy's a dominant player. This Raiders team seeked out Chris Harris and Byron Jones, so they were in search of a corner for sure. They were rejected by both. Some might argue receiver for this team, but I disagree. Neil, I think, hit the hammer right on the head. I think Aguilar and Judy will mesh with Carr really well. They'll click. They've already made moves there. 3 interceptions, 3 sacks. He's a household name. All right, so with the 19th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Xavier McKinney, safety out of Alabama. The Las Vegas Raiders.
Ugh,
They're still Oakland to me.
that's so strange.
I'm gonna be saying Oakland Raiders for a while. Anyway, dominant player. This team has seeked out Chris Harris and Byron Jones, so they're in search of a corner for sure. Some might argue receiver, and I think Neil covered it really well. With Judy and Carr, maybe Aguilar, maybe there'll be some mesh. Maybe they'll click this year. But they've already made moves there.
And
3
they
interceptions.
didn't get Jones and Harris, right? Those were rejected.
They seeked them out, which
Yeah,
tells
they
me that
didn't
they're
get them.
looking
Okay.
for a corner.
Yep.
3 interceptions, 3 sacks. He's a household name. And when I think a team moves, you're looking for a household name. You're looking for a guy that is going to draw people. So when you get a guy from Alabama, they're going to be like, oh, hey, let's follow this guy to Las Vegas. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be an interesting guy to bring over there. I like the pick.
They need defense.
They need the defense.
Yeah.
You know,
What are we
yeah,
at? We at
20.
I think
20.
we're at 20.
Yes.
20.
So
That's 20.
20th pick, in the 2020 NFL Draft, Jaguars. I got them taking Grant Delpit out of LSU, safety, 6'2", 213 pounds. One of the things that makes this guy so special is the fact that he can really match up against anybody. And we're beating the dead horse out of this joke, but his athletic, I literally wrote this in his athletic beefy build makes him able to cover tight ends as well as talented high-end receivers. And this is super important. And one of the biggest concerns for safeties coming right out of college is, are they going to play a level of football that's required of an NFL defender? Delpit has proven that he can bring that level. 7 deflected passes, 1 forced fumble, 2 sacks, 65 tackles, and 2 interceptions in 2019, while being a crucial part of LSU's championship win. I don't know if you guys know this, but they do this this number 7 dedication jersey thing for LSU. Like whoever's been the most crucial part of the team for a certain part of the year, he was given that honor. But right now, the Jags have Gerard Wilson, Ronnie Harrison, Andrew Wingard as their returning safeties for next year. Scouts have said that Delpit is super, super similar in talent and technique to Ronnie Harrison. The two of them in a zone coverage would be an insane duo, something that opposing offenses would really have to think about when going up against Jacksonville. Thoughts?
I love it how in this mock Jags are going back-to-back defensive pieces because I think that's their need right now.
It's their need. A lot of secondary choices.
Yeah.
This first round.
Yeah.
We got a heavy.
As of
secondary
late,
class.
I mean, the beginning was not that, but as of late, it's been a lot of secondary.
Yeah, from 15, honestly, from the second half down to the first round, we're going to be seeing a lot of secondary picks. I agree.
Oh, yes. All right, number 21, Sean, take it away.
All right. Eagles fans will come. If I were their GM, they would be yelling for me to get fired the next day because all they want is a wide receiver. But they're not going to get it with the 21st pick. The wide receiver class is too deep. They don't need to spend it on their first pick. They need to beef up their defense. So they're going with A.J. Epineza out of Iowa with the 21st pick. He's a defensive end. You can play him alongside Fletcher Cox. Play him on that front 7. He's got a nonstop motor, which they really like. It makes up for some of his flaws. The kid doesn't stop running. He doesn't quit until the whistle. He's an AP All-American, 6'5", 275, so he's got good size, and he's got good timing. He's a little bit slow every now and then, but he makes up for it with his motor and his all that he's going to give.
Sean,
energy.
Neil took the words right out of my mouth. I like drive. I like energy. I like grit. I like the grit. Awesome.
Just for the record, on a lot of mocks, basically almost every single one I've seen, AJ Epineza. Is that how you say it? Epineza. He's supposed to be drafted by the Patriots, actually, with the 23rd pick. That's where a lot of analysts think he's going to go. I don't think so. I just don't think defensive end is the biggest worry.
Now.
I think they've lost a lot of linebackers, not front line. I think front line, they're actually good. But
so Pat, with the 23rd pick, tell us
again, 22nd. What are you doing here?
I'm so
22.
sorry.
Oh, no.
All right, go 22, go. I'm just so excited for the 23rd because I know that there's so much tension building.
All right, so with the 22nd pick in the 2020 draft, I got the Vikings taking Justin Jefferson, another wide receiver off the board. Stephon Diggs was a big loss. I mean, there's no sugarcoating that. And it's hard to hold a fill, but I think Jefferson, not going to fill completely, but I think he'd be a really good replacement for Diggs. A little bit of a hot take. I think the Vikings have, and look at my words, have the most talented roster in the NFL. I did I didn't say best. I said most talented. Look at the talent they have. Look at the pieces they have.
Yes, I think they have the most all-around team in the league.
Yeah, I think they have the most
all around. Talented and all around is a little bit different.
It's interchangeable.
I guess
so.
Okay.
So with that, I don't think they have many holes they need to fill. More to Pat's point, they're a very all-around, sturdy team. O-line could use some help, but I don't think they should draft one until the second round because, as I've said prior, as we've all really said prior, a lot of the top-tier offensive linemen have really just been taken off the board. And I think you can get a guy like, off the top of my head, I'm thinking like Cesar Ruiz, who was a guy, I have no idea where he went to school, no idea what his stats are, but I saw him popping up on a lot of draft boards as an early second-round pick. And if the Vikings have an early second-round pick, why not take a chance? I think Jefferson could make a big impact in his rookie year if the Vikings have to rely on a number 2 receiver, which if Adam Thielen is their number 1, they might have to. Give Kirk Cousins some pieces.
He'll get those pieces.
Pat, number 23.
Number 23.
This is gonna be there's gonna be a lot of debating right now.
This is the pick.
A war is about to break out.
This is the pick.
The New England Patriots.
Pat,
Patriots
just
fans.
for the record, what I'm about to say, it's no hard feelings. This is nothing
Patriots
personal.
Patriots fans listening, watching. Hello. With the 23rd pick,
everybody.
With the 23rd pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Cole Kmet, tight end for today.
Boo! Boo! Awful pick. Boo!
Michael disagrees with me.
No, I don't.
Okay.
a
Bill
great
Belichick, I trust, and this is what I have to say. They got Brandon Copeland as a linebacker from the Jets, which shows me that Bill has a plan for the linebackers. They've lost a lot of linebackers.
Oh, Brandon Copeland washed up past his prime. Okay.
I'm just saying. I'm saying that he's
There's
made
a plan. There's something in place. There's something going on in Bill's
There's a
brain.
plan. I know that we've lost more than obviously just one linebacker. I've talked about this before. They have no offensive player to lead this team. Very well. There's a lot of analysts out there who think Jordan Love is going to take this pick. What's wrong, Michael?
No!
Go ahead.
No!
What?
You don't think
No.
Julian Edelman is a leader on
Hold on.
Julian Edelman's a leader, Michael, but he's past his prime.
So is Brandon Copeland. We want to bring up his name.
Oh,
You
hey,
think
hey, hey.
that a
Hey,
rando rookie.
Slow down. Slow down.
Rando rookie tight end.
Slow
gonna
down.
come into the New
He's not a
England
rando.
Patriots.
Slow
Wait,
down.
Cole
And
Kmet's not a random
Slow down.
rookie.
Slow down. This is what I have to say to
This
that.
is the weakest tight end class
First
in
off,
years.
first off, Brandon Copeland, I'm not telling you he's a leader. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm not even telling you Cole Kmet is going to be an automatic leader. I'm saying with no leader and no veteran guy, whatever happens, I was just about to say before you interrupted me, Michael, if they very well may pick Jordan Love with this. Regardless, we have whatever quarterback is going to be starting for the New England Patriots, they're going to be young. They're going to be inexperienced. Bill, from the beginning, is all about offense, defense, special teams. I don't think he's going to put all of his eggs in one basket with this defense. This defense still has pieces. McCourty, Gilmore, I don't see it. I think this pick needs to be spent on offense. We've talked about it so many times last year. What's been the biggest problem about this team? It's their offense. The defense carried us. I know we lost guys. I know we lost pieces. But the pieces are still there on this defense. Best corner in the league. He won the Defensive Player of the Year. He's still on our team. One guy like that could make such a difference on any other team.
I love it. You said one guy. You know what? He's one guy out of 11.
And what did I just say? What did I just say? I said one guy like that could make such a difference on this team. I'm not here to tell you that Cole Kmet is or is not that
They
guy.
lost 3 linebackers. 4 guys
Sean,
in
this
free
is the best
agency
part of the
out of their
entire
top 7. They
I'm
lost
loving this.
4 guys in their front 7. 4 veteran guys who are leaders in the locker room.
And as you
who are
say
great
all the
skilled
time,
players
and as you say
who
all the
contribute
time,
to this team who left and they're not here anymore. So fancy me this for a second. You still have Kenneth Murray and Patrick Queen, who are 2 really good linebackers. I know Sean is really high on Patrick Queen. 2 really good linebackers still on the board.
Mhm.
And you think that with 3 losses at linebacker, that Bill Belichick is going to go out and replenish the tight end position.
the tight end position is what got us to most of the Super Bowls. The tight end position. When
Oh
Rob
my
Gronkowski-
God!
Oh no!
Yeah, but
Oh no!
Pat, oh my God!
Go ahead.
You think that the tight end position is what got us to most of the Super Bowls?
It was Tom Brady's favorite
We
weapon.
won Super Bowl 51 in Atlanta without Gronk.
Fair,
You came
fair,
back 28-3 without
Fair.
Gronk.
fair.
You won
Michael,
3 Super
Michael,
Bowls
Michael,
prior
Michael.
to Gronk being on the team.
Simmer. Let it marinate.
No!
I'm not here to tell you that it might not be Jordan Love. It could be. Do I think it should be? No. But I do think they need parts on
I'm
this
not saying
offense. A
quarterback.
lot of receivers.
You're
A
hooked
lot
on
of
quarterback. I'm saying linebacker. I said it in the last podcast. I'll say it in this podcast. You know what? No, I'll raise you one. Not even linebacker. Defensive player. Give me someone on the defensive end that can help out this depleted position as a whole. It's depleted part of the
The
team.
offense is more depleted than the
No,
defense.
it's not. No,
Yes,
it's not.
it is.
They lost
Good.
Brady.
Yes,
they
it
lost no
is.
one else. They just
Okay,
lost Brady.
maybe
But
That's
we
maybe
didn't
it.
not.
have anyone
In-
last year.
Dude, in the offseason, they have just lost defense. They haven't lost any offense.
Michael, you're going to sit here and tell me that this Patriots offense is more
I'm
talented
not.
than the Patriots?
I'm not.
So if you just said that, then how would you not say that the Patriots are going to use their first pick, their first rounder on an offensive player?
I didn't let you finish. I thought you were gonna say that. Are you gonna say that the Patriots offense isn't good? I don't think it's good. It's awful. It's not where it should be. But you can make picks in the second, third, maybe fourth round. Bills
You
got
make
ahead.
picks to the second, third round as a linebacker.
No, you can't because they're not as deep positions. They're not, dude. And
There
tight
are
end,
plenty
like
of
I
good
said,
No.
tight end is
Third,
not.
third,
But
fourth,
tight end
fifth
is not
round
your
is
number
where you
one
get
position.
your defense.
Listen to the special
All
guest,
right, say that one more
Michael.
time.
Third, fourth, fifth round. That's where you get your defense.
I love that.
That's
I
where
love
Belichick
that.
gets his defense.
Belichick does
He
not.
picked with the 10th pick of the draft. He picked Gerard Mayo. In the first round out of Rutgers, he got Devin McCourty. He's
And what's he
made
been
first-round
doing?
picks
And what's
on
he been?
cornerstone pieces.
This is what I have to say. The Patriots have spent 2 picks now on offensive players. That tells me, of course, that an aging Tom Brady needed more weapons. And an aging quarterback and a young quarterback both need weapons. And whatever happens, you're going to need weapons.
If they picked offense in back-to-back years, why wouldn't they just pick defense? They already picked offense. Let your young players develop. I know we just kind of pooped on N'Keal Harry and Sonny Michel and Isaiah Wynn, but let those guys develop. Pick a defensive guy. Grow your next Luke Kuechly, your next Bobby Wagner and Kenneth Murray or Patrick Queen. Grow one of those. You could probably trade down for that.
No,
You might be able to.
The
will
Pats
see.
aren't picking with the 23rd.
We will see. This is new.
No, they're not going to. I
Sean,
would be shocked if the Pats don't trade out of that pick.
Wow.
Because everyone's thinking that they're going like a quarterback in that pick, but Belichick thinks he can win with Stidham, which I believe he
He
can.
never said he could. Belichick never outright said he could.
So why hasn't he
It's
signed another quarterback?
How is it implied, Neil? How is it implied?
By the
Belichick
fact
can
that he
see
hasn't gone out and
anyone.
gotten another quarterback, and the fact that there's
In
no
free agency, that doesn't mean that he's not going to go out and get one in the draft. He could get out and go.
I think he's probably going to snag a quarterback maybe in the later rounds. I don't think it's going to be a first pick.
I was going to say the Patriots
It might.
have been linked with a day 3 quarterback named James Morgan out of some weird school. He doesn't have the numbers, but he has some really good technique and he's a complete player. And the Patriots have been linked with his name a lot as a later day 3 pick, 4th, 5th, 6th round. So why not do that? Jordan Love is not a first round like for sure fire. He could fall a lot. He could fall to the second. I saw in some mocks him falling to the 3rd round. This guy is one of the most dynamic and kind of like biggest like margins of where he can go in this draft. I'm done. We got to move on. I want this podcast to be under 3 hours. So
All right, so we're at 24. This is actually an interesting one. Pick 24 is the Saints. Kenneth Murray, Oklahoma from linebacker, 6'2", 241 pounds. The Saints have it all going on right now, especially with the recent addition of Emmanuel Sanders, and the linebacker position's no exception. Right now, their 2 remaining healthy veteran linebackers are Craig Robertson, Demario Davis. They have a few guys returning from injuries. I think Murray would make an excellent addition to this already lethal defense. One NFL analyst combine notes included sleek, and I quote, sleek playmaking linebacker with chiseled frame and long arms. Murray's game is predicated on speed with the ability to fly around from sideline to sideline, rolling up tackles. He ran a 4.52 at the combine. Honestly, I think this is one of the final pieces that the Saints need to be successful this season and, more importantly, in the playoffs. Thoughts?
just named him. Just talked about him. I think he fits for the Patriots.
He's a good player.
He's a good
Can't
player.
deny that he's a good player.
Can't deny it. And you know what? Now we're in playoff teams. The margin of what we're looking at, the margin of like what teams need is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. You know what I mean? For a team like the Browns, they need a lot of stuff, obviously. For a team like coming up the Ravens, the Chiefs, they need less stuff. So I like that pick, Neil. I respect it.
Interesting. All right. Who's Sean?
25.
25th pick. Before I get to the 25th pick, I just want to sneak in there. I love Cole Kmet. Great player. I'm a Notre Dame fan. So he was great for Notre Dame this year. I think the Pats are going to get him, but I think they're going to trade that pick for later second-round picks to get Kmet. So I like the pick, just I wish it would be later. But for the 25th pick, now I'll get the 25th pick in before everything blows up. 25th pick,
I'm not saying nothing.
it's the Vikings. I think they're going to get Jeff Gladney out of TCU. He's a good player. The Vikings just dropped Xavier Rhodes, he's been the stalwart on their defense for a long time. I mean, when you thought of the Vikings defense, he was the guy. So Jeff Gladney, he's 5'10", a bit undersized, but he has a very high football IQ, which makes up for it. And he's got bursts of speed that are pretty well timed. So I think that could be very good for the Vikings defense. And you put a couple weapons on defense, and they could win some games, I think.
All
It
right.
speaks to kind of like the Vikings place, their team right now being very balanced. So they go out, they have 2 firsts, they pick one on offense, pick one on defense.
All right, Mike, number 26.
All right, at 26, I have the Dolphins' third and final pick of the first round. I have DeAndre Swift, first running back off the board. So there are a lot of great running backs in this draft. Not really top heavy, but there are a lot of like solid ones. I think Swift is the best in this draft class. I know a lot of people think that maybe Jonathan Taylor is out of Wisconsin, but I'm going to get into that in a second. So the Dolphins signed Jordan Howard in free agency, but I think that in this stage of his career and with the injuries he's had, I just don't see
He's not
Howard
stable
having,
enough.
I don't
You
think
can't
he
depend on
has-
that.
I don't think for 16 games that he can be our bell cow. And keep on going back to it, Shawnee picked Tua, so I'm going to go with it. You got to pair Tua with someone. So why not just get the best running back, in my opinion, in the draft? Give him a little security blanket in the backfield. I went back and forth between Jonathan Taylor and Jonathan Swift of who's the best in the draft. But then I thought to myself, like, who are their offensive lines? And Wisconsin is notorious for producing some of the best offensive linemen in the NFL. I mean, they have a great offensive line year in and year out, just like Boston College. And I just think the Dolphins, I know it's college, but if you compare them, I don't see the Dolphins having as good as an offensive line. So I think you got to take DeAndre Swift to – Georgia had a good line, but they didn't have as good a line in Wisconsin. So you put him in a lesser system, see how he performs. I think he performs better than Taylor. I think he will be able to adapt better than Taylor will be able to. So I just think Swift, I think he just fits the system better than Jonathan Taylor does. But just for some stats, the Dolphins were ranked dead last year in rushing yards per game. I mean, they only had 72. That's not good. Nothing to write home about. So they need a running back. So I think with the 26th pick of the draft, DeAndre Swift, he's my guy.
Absolutely. Pat, 27, Seahawks.
27th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. The Seattle tackle Boise State. The Seahawks O-line is aging, and they're aging fast. 42% of Wilson snaps, he has to move out of the pocket. If a QB cannot plant his feet, that leads to trouble. No doubt about it. Thank God that guy can scramble. They're ranked 27th for their O-line, ironically, because they're the 27th pick. I think an O-line will be the best choice. His combine notes were foot quickness is strong, and he stays connected to blocks in space. This is going to help a team where defenses are getting around. He can move his feet and stay in front of their man. This is the problem that the Seahawks have had for a while. I think this is a wise pick for them. Sean, you were grinning over there, Sean. You look like you have something to say.
No, I like the pick. I mean, the Seahawks they always dodge picking O linemen. They have to thank their lucky stars that Russell Wilson can move just as well as anyone in the game. So I think it's time for the Seahawks to get him some protection.
I agree.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, so I have 28. 28th pick, Ravens select Brandon Ayuk. Arizona State wide receiver, 6 feet, 205 pounds. Can anyone name a wide receiver? Quiz time. Can anyone name a wide receiver on the Ravens that's not Marquise Brown?
Willie Snead.
That's your wide receiver too?
I mean,
no. And that's obviously their biggest problem.
So all right, so let me get into this. So some of his combine notes included flash ability to manipulate corners away from his route, bursts out of stems to open up windows for a quarterback. Routes are linear but crisp and fast. Most important, and me and Michael were FaceTime, we were talking about this earlier, first down maker. That's why I think he'll make such an impact on this Ravens offense. The Ravens were number 1 in the league last year with the highest number of average first downs per game, 24.4 per game, and specifically an average of 26.3 first downs in their final 3 games. I think Ayuk is going to be an excellent wide receiver 2 for this Ravens offense. He's going to take some of the coverage and or attention off of Marquise Brown. But why the Ravens? He ran a 4.5 40, and this is exactly the speedy receiver the Ravens would jump to have.
4.5 is not that fast. 4.5,
Speedy?
that's pretty mediocre.
It's fast.
Pretty good.
No, that's
Like,
not,
dude, like
that's
the
average.
best.
I run like a
That's not great.
I run like a 5.1. Like that, you know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
fast. But like for an NFL receiver, it's not like zoo. Like my guy was 4.2.
So, I suppose. Yep. So, what are we at? Sean, are we at?
Well, actually, no, I would like to
You have
extend.
some comments? All right, go for it.
Yeah, I think this is the greatest pick of the draft, figuring their draft position, because the biggest need is wide receiver,
Mhm.
and they get the best wide receiver that fits their play style. Sean gave me a look and a half saying that I look crazy. So, Sean, please comment on that for a second.
I mean, I think it's a fine pick. Getting a wide receiver on the best offense, picking offense for the best offense in the NFL.
That's a good
I
point.
mean,
That's a really good point.
It seems a little strange, but you want to keep it up. So yeah, I understand the pick.
And
I
I
know
think-
everyone's saying that they're going to go offense, but defense
think-
can hurt.
And I think it just tells you how damn good Lamar Jackson is.
Yeah.
When you
I
think
also-
about how their weapons in the receiving core aren't like extensive, and how just good how he's really just
Still had the best offense in the league, but they
Amazing.
made so many moves in free agency. I think that's why
They
they're
did.
going really offensive heavy this draft, and some of the mocks that obviously we've done. I think it's a great pick, honestly. They got their
Absolutely.
guy.
All right, number 29, Sean, take it away.
All right, 29th pick. You have the Titans. They somehow managed their way to the 29th
Unreal.
pick.
Oh my god.
Who knows how?
Easy.
So they're going with the guy with the best name in the NFL draft. If this was a name draft, he'd be number 1 overall. Yutter Gross-Matos. Like,
Gross
Yeah.
toes.
my guy Gross Matos. Yes,
his first name's Yutter. Like, how do you go wrong?
bro. That sounds like something you'd put on like a burger. You want a Gross Matos on that? You want some Yeti Gross Matos? I don't know. That's just
Sean,
like
tell us about this guy.
Dude, no, he's good. So, certain name. Reason to draft him right there. But he was all Big Ten last year. He had 8
Sells
sacks his
jerseys.
sophomore year, 9 sacks his junior year. And he's got a good build. He needs to get a little bit stronger, but Mike Vrabel's his coach. He'll definitely coach him up. I mean, Vrabel proved to be a very good coach last
what
year.
a coach. What a coach.
Yeah.
What a
And
coach.
Tennessee, I mean, they relied heavily on the offense last year, so they could use a little bit of defense.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I like
Or
your pick.
Michael, 30?
All right, so 30 and rounding out my picks for the draft, I have Patrick Queen. I talked about him a little bit before. So he's a linebacker out of LSU. The Packers lost a guy named Blake Martinez. He led the league in tackles last year, and I've talked about him in other podcasts. Those are some pretty big shoes to fill. I mean, he led the league in tackles, right? And I'm not saying that Queen's going to fill those shoes day one, because no player really does that week one. But I think he can develop into a really reliable linebacker at the end of round one who can make big plays. I do want to address the wide receiver position, though, because a lot of analysts are saying wide receiver is a must draft. But I disagree. They have some really good young wide receivers on this team that were not really good, but receivers that could develop into really good wide receivers. I mean, they're not big name guys, don't get me wrong, but I mean, Alan Lazard caught for 500 yards last game. Marcus Valdez-Scalen's more of a deep threat. He caught for 450. And they picked up Devin Funchess in free agency, who was injured for a lot of last year, but he can be a really big red zone target. I think he's like 6'6" or something. He's a big guy.
I got a little bit of a rebuttal for you.
Well, hold on. I was gonna say maybe
Yeah,
the
let
third,
Michael cap it off.
maybe
Yeah.
the third or like the fourth round, you pick a guy like a wide receiver. I talked about for the Patriots, maybe a guy like Claypool out of Notre Dame, I think it is.
Oh, yeah. Notre Dame guy.
Yeah, he looks like a reliable guy just from what I've seen, but I think you can pick up a receiver in any round for the Packers. I don't think that's really imminent position. And you had Devontae Adams last year, who had a very mess season. He
Michael,
didn't even get 1,000 yards. He was at
we have
997.
talked in numerous podcasts.
Well, hold on,
about-
one more thing. This team went to the NFC Championship last year, right? and they went to San Francisco. Do you remember why they lost? I was at Pat's house watching this game. Do you remember why they lost?
They just were the worst
Because
team.
their defense got lit up for 35 points in the
No,
first
I think
half.
they were just the worst
So with that
team.
They
being
couldn't
said,
stop the run.
Yeah, they couldn't stop their run.
yeah, so you draft a linebacker, a little run stopper. Queen is not very good in the zone, and he specializes in run stop. That's what I read. So with that being said, draft a super talented linebacker to replace your captain on defense.
Alan,
What are your thoughts, man?
I think it's interesting when Michael says in like previous podcasts that like the Green Bay Packers are very two-dimensional. They got Adams, they got Jones, they got Rodgers. That's it. I think they need a receiver here. I disagree with you. And you just claimed that Alan Lazard.
I didn't know. I prefaced it clearly by saying I don't think these guys are big name guys whatsoever. But I said in their rookie campaigns, Valdez-Scantling is second year maybe, but in their relatively rookie campaigns, they didn't perform awful. And down the stretch, Alan Lazard had some pretty big games where he put up like 85, 90 yards in a touchdown.
Interesting how you can say Alan Lazard scores puts up 500 yards, but then when I argue Curtis Samuel from the Panthers and he gets
Because they're
600,
different teams. We're debating
Yeah, it's
Teddy
two different
Bridgewater
scenarios.
and
Can't
Aaron
compare the two.
Rodgers, Christian
Aaron Rodgers
McCaffrey, and
could
Aaron
throw to a
Jones.
brick wall and it'd be good. Like
Exactly.
That's a fact.
They're completely different teams. It all matters on who's throwing the ball. I
I-
promise you that if you
all
put
I'm
Curtis
saying-
Samuel in Green Bay's offense, he'd catch a hell of a lot more yards than if you put Alan Lazard in the Panthers' offense.
all I'm saying that Alan Lazard is not someone I see to be a threat. That's all.
All right.
And I said that I think you can go into a later round and pick a wide receiver.
Interesting. All right, Pat, number 31.
Okay, number 31. The 31st pick. Can't believe we're already here. The 31st pick of the 2020 NFL Draft. San Francisco 49ers select Trevon Diggs, cornerback, Alabama. I have selected so many Bama players in this draft. Sherman is on his way out. Very, very soon. Very soon.
What makes
We've
you
talked
say
about
that?
this. He's
I feel like
old.
we've been
He's getting
saying that
old.
for
He's an old guy.
years.
He's getting old. I think he's on his way out. And this type of guy and this team wants to see somebody replace him. Exceptional in zone coverage and has actually been compared to the likes of Aqib Talib in the combine, which is quite
Okay.
the compliment in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's also Stephon Diggs' younger brother.
That's kind of cool.
That's awesome.
It's not cool, right? So he's been going up against top receivers in Alabama his entire time in Alabama. He's been going up against his teammates who have clearly just made him better. 37 tackles, 3 interceptions. I think he would be a great addition to this already phenomenal 49ers defense. Honestly, dude, there aren't a lot of holes in this 49ers team.
Not at all.
Dude.
I
You know
feel
what I
wide
mean?
receiver, though, if I'm being honest.
I was gonna say that Debo Samuel,
Lost-
Marquise
You lost
I don't
Emmanuel
know.
Sanders.
You did, and I thought about that. But how can you argue that? But you argue, well, I guess they have.
Again, they're completely different
Yeah, they're
teams, though.
different.
You have
Yeah,
a number one receiver in Devontae Adams, who's a top
yeah,
3
that's
talent.
That's right.
You know, Debo Samuel was a rookie last year and didn't perform exceptionally well when they needed him to.
Fair. A good
Yeah.
point.
Niners could go big at like T. Higgins. That's a late
Yeah.
first round
Oh,
pick
yeah.
out of Clemson that they could go with.
I think he's
You
going
know,
to eke into the
they
second
want him.
round.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, final 30-second pick for the Chiefs. A.J. Terrell, cornerback, Clemson, 6'1", 195 pounds. Ran a 4.40 at the combine. Could potentially be exactly what this Chiefs team needs to make another playoff run.
Another playoff run, dude. They're gonna make the playoff for the next 5 years.
I know, but a Super Bowl run
Oh,
There
okay.
you go. There you go.
potentially.
Okay.
Scouts at the combine recognized not only his physical ability, also specifically his patience and reading the quarterback's eyes in a cover 3. Some other notes included a slow, steady backpedal. He isn't quick to action and then subsequently overreaction when faced with highly skilled receivers. He also has displayed an above-average level of football IQ as opposed to some of the other corners in the draft. Although a powerhouse in most other departments, this Chiefs team does need a little bit of help at the cornerback position. Most of their cash in recent years has been spent on the offense. I think drafting a guy like Terrell to add to that cornerback threat of Orlando Scandrick and Brandon Flowers would really help this team succeed in 2020.
This Chiefs defense has been improving. Slowly but surely, this Chiefs defense has been slowly moving up. I remember
They
this.
hit their stride last year.
I remember.
End of last year. First half,
Yeah.
they had a ton of injuries, couldn't
Dude, not
Tennessee
even.
put on together.
Dude, the reason why they lost that game in the AFC Championship overtime in the Super
No,
Bowl
I'm not talking about
is
that. I'm talking about last year, like the most recent season that happened at the beginning.
What did you
of the
say
season.
last year? Sorry, I think
Yeah,
of
no, I got
53.
it. I got it.
I agree they hit their stride. But, the reason why I think if we bring it back to Super Bowl 53 AFC Championship overtime, the reason they lost that is because the defense wasn't up to par with that offense at the time. It's the reason why they lost. To be honest, and I hate to say it because I'm a Pats fan, change that coin toss.
I was
Chiefs
just,
go to the Super Bowl.
I don't want to make this podcast go
Yeah.
into the 4-hour range, but I was gonna say, like, if the Chiefs won that toss, you know that they were
Chiefs
gonna be
go to the Super
representing the
Bowl.
AFC in the Super Bowl.
I
So I don't think
completely agree.
I don't think you can really give all the defense on
Neil,
that,
I
but-
like that pick. I think the corner move was
Thank
smart
you.
for them.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Sean,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on.
Hey,
Really
thanks for
appreciate
having
it,
me on
dude.
this.
Thanks, Sean.
Have fun.
Thank you.
See you guys.
I think we just about wrapped up. I'm Neil,
I'm Pat.
I'm Michael.
and we'll see you next time. Let's go!
Let's go.
Oh, boys. All right.